first video of the year, let's go.
Last time on the Mario Marathon, I talked about the Super Mario Land duology. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy! Back in the mid-90s, Nintendo created the Nintendo 64, one of the company's most important consoles to this day, with amazing titles like The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, GoldenEye 007, Super Smash Bros., to name a few. And of course, home to one of the worst video games of all time, Superman 64. I could make a video on all of these games, but I will leave that for some other time, because today, we'll be talking about the game that would set a whole new standard for what was possible not only for a platformer, but for video games in general. That game, of course, being Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 was a launch title for the Nintendo 64.
What?
And just like Super Mario Bros., Super Mario World, and Super Mario Land, it showed not only what the console was capable of, but also what was possible for video games in general. And not only that, but it also has a couple of important things that became staples for the series, but I'll mention it as we go along. Fun fact, Super Mario 64 was developed in nearly 3 years. And not only that, but the team originally lacked a proper controller, so they decided to use a modified Sega controller. That's pretty ironic. This game was also the first time the mainline series had voice acting. Leslie Swan voices Princess Peach, Scott Burns voices Bowser, and of course, the legendary Charles Martinet gave life to Mario. There's a reason for why Charles voiced Mario for over 30 years. The first time he ever voiced him was in the game Mario Teaches Typing.
Thank you for choosing Mario Teaches Typing from Nintendo and Interplay.
We stand Charles Martinet in this household. Legit seems like a sweet guy. Obviously, there's a reason for why Charles voiced Mario for so many years, and that's because he brings this sense of joy and endearment to the character. You just can't imagine Mario without Charles' voice. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, how about we go and talk about Super Mario... Seriously? Seriously? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Why am I still black and white? Yeah, hold on. There we go. Now that we are back to normal, we can actually go and talk about Super Mario 64, one of Nintendo's most iconic games ever. I love this chair so much. Of course, Nintendo wanted to show off their 3D technology, and what better way to do that than show Mario's big-ass head a la Mario Teaches Typing 2. You can play with Mario's head for a bit and make some funny faces. The intro is one of the most iconic in video games, starting with Peach's letter inviting Mario to eat some cake. Alakidu, with a camera, shows his flying skills and records Mario's every move. We enter the castle and Peach is kidnapped by Bowser. Fantastic. It's okay, I guess. This is the first ever 3D Mario game after all, so I imagine they spend most of their time on perfecting Mario's movement and all that crap. Super Mario 64 is unique in its setting. Instead of traveling through different worlds, the game is set in Peach's castle. And instead of reaching a flagpole or a magic box, we collect power stars. These little things fill the castle with power, and they're also used as keys for the doors. And that's the whole game. You jump inside a painting, collect power stars, unlock more doors, fight Bowser, rinse and repeat. How you collect the stars is up to you though. In most 3D Mario games, where the objective is going from point A to point B, in 64, you can go from point A to point G to point Y to point B if you really wanted to. That's one of the best things about Super Mario 64. You get to collect the Power Stars in no particular order. Although I love the freedom the game gives you, I'm not really a big fan of how the game kicks you out of the level, and you have to start from the very beginning again. Thank God, another Mario game in the future doesn't kick you out and you get to continue from where you left off. But we'll get there when we get there. Be on the lookout in the castle though. There are some hidden stars there, and sometimes there's hidden stars in the levels. And there's also the 100 coin missions. I hate these levels with all my heart. On the earlier levels, they're fine, but in the latter half of the game... Now for the real question. What's different between this Mario and the one from previous games? Well, quite a lot actually. Mario has become much more agile from one game to the next. Mario brings forward the triple jump, the backflip, wall jump, somersault, punches, kick, dive, long jump, ground pound, and the break dance. You name it, Mario is in a league of its own in this game. Speaking of being in a league of your own, this soundtrack, man, there's a reason for why it's so iconic. Bob-omb Battlefield is about as Bob-omb Battlefield is about as fun and bouncy as you expect for a level. Dire Dire Ducks is so good. Tied for my favorite track in the whole game. The Metal Cap theme makes me feel invincible. And the credits theme? God, it's so fantastic. My favorite track in the game for sure. Oh yeah, I mentioned the Metal Cap. Well, in this game, the power-ups are completely different from what you usually expect from a Mario game at this point in the series. There's no Mushroom, no Fire Flower, and no Starman. Kind of a letdown honestly, but the power-ups we get here are serviceable, I suppose. We get the Wing Cap, which is a noble concept, but the controls haven't aged the best. It's still fun to fly around, and the music is nice too, but nothing groundbreaking. Nowadays at least, because back then, I can only imagine how groundbreaking that was. The Invisible Cap, which might be the most boring power-up in the game. You turn invisible and pass through some walls. Really, you only need to use this like 3 to 4 times. And the Metal Cap. Despite the music being metal as shit, no pun intended, it's pretty much a semi-worse version of the Starman. Yeah, you are invincible against most enemies, and you can walk underwater, but aside from that, it's nothing that crazy. And speaking of crazy, we get to talk about the levels, finally. Bob-omb Battlefield, the best level in the game. It's super fun, multiple ways to get those stars, and has the sexiest mustache in all of gaming, King Bob-omb. I don't know what it is about this level, but it is the most fun I have. Now, just because I think the first level is the best, doesn't mean I don't like the rest of the levels, because we also have Whomp's Fortress. This level is tons of fun as well. One of my favorite stars is when you do the wall jump instead of taking the cannon. The boss fight though is broken. Jolly Roger Bay. Aesthetically, it's really pretty, but my biggest complaint is that there's not much to do. I do like the sunken ship and that thing. God, those eels are so creepy. Cool Mountain. This is a hit or miss for me. I love some power-ups. I like racing the penguin. Getting the red coins, surprisingly enough, is pretty fun. And even getting the star where you have to wall jump a lot is pretty fun. Big Boo's Hound. There's only like 2 stars I really like, and those are the first one where you have to defeat a couple of Boos to defeat a big boy at the end, and the one where you go on top of the ceiling. It's an alright level. Hazy Maze Cave. Despite being a maze, it's surprisingly hard to get lost. I like the stars where you use the Metal Cap, and Dory is really charming. I like Dory. They're epic. Lethal Lava Land. Despite looking like hell, it's not that bad. I actually really like this level. Fighting the bullies, getting the red coins, surfing on lava, and even going inside the volcano is so damn fun. One of my favorite levels for sure. Shifting Sandland, just like Big Boo's Hound. I like a total of 3 stars in this level. Fighting the big hands, it's pretty fun. Getting on top of the 4 pillars is fun as well. And that bird? Yeah, I hate it. Dire Docks. Like I said, I love the music. I like the giant submarine. Aside from that, yeah, this level is kinda cheeks. Get it away from me. Ugh. Snowman's Land. I don't know. I never liked this level that much, but I also don't hate it. It's alright for what it is. I like fighting the chili bully. I like fighting the chili bully. Look at him. He's so beautiful. Wet, dry world. There's a specific section of this level that I love, and that's the Sunken City. I don't know why, but when I played this as a kid, it was like finding Atlantis. Like, who lived here and where are they? Did they drown? Did they have to leave because the place was flooding? How did they escape if the place is so far from normal land? That's a theory for another day. Coming 2038. Tall Mountain. A mountain so tall, you say it twice. I like this level for the most part. I think reaching the top of the mountain is fun, and I like the part where you slide. Squashing the moles is fun and probably an unpopular opinion, but I like this stupid monkey. Look at him, he's so adorable. Tiny Huge Island. Level not fun when me huge. Level fun when me small. Ooga booga booga. Me when I small and level huge. Ooga booga booga. Okay, but for real though, I'm a very simple man. I like fighting the Wiggler and finding the secrets. Other than that, it's alright. I do like racing the Koopa in this level though. It's pretty fun. Tick, tock, clock. Amazing racetrack in Mario Kart DS. Frustrating level in 64. I think the concept of being inside a clock is really cool, and I love the aesthetics and how you can play with time. It can be challenging but satisfying. Unlike Rainbow Ride. Oh my god, I hate this level. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's slow. It's boring. It's annoying. It has the worst stars, the worst aesthetics, the worst everything. I hate it. I hate everything about it. But with normal levels also comes the Bowser ones. Those levels have the perfect pacing, going from super easy and slowly ramping the difficulty. My favorite Bowser level, Bowser in the Sky. Oh, and that music that accompanies the levels, so freaking good, man. And with that, we can transition to the bosses. Honestly, they're a hit or miss. Some bosses are good and some bosses are mediocre, but for the most part, they're fine. You fight Bowser 3 times. Each one is harder than the last. Once you defeat him, Peach is safe and we get to eat cake. God, that cake looks so delicious. And that's Super Mario 64. Imagine your launch title being one of the best games for your console. Mario was just in a row in the 80s and 90s. The game has surprisingly aged really well for being one of the first true 3D games ever. There's a reason for why it left such an impact in gaming. The controls feel nice for the most part, except when Mario doesn't do a full 180 and some power stars are bullshit. However, with a versatile moveset, fun level design, great music, and a lot of freedom, Super Mario 64 still stands the test of time as one of gaming's best. Still a great game almost 30 years later. I give Super Mario 64 an 8.5 out of 10. A solid foundation for what the future for the series holds. Oh, that's right! How could I have forgotten about the Nintendo DS remake of this game? Super Mario 64 DS. It's pretty much the same game for the most part. The game adds a lot of content, and when I say a lot of content, I mean it. In the original N64, there were only 120 stars. In DS though, they added 30 more stars. Yep, 150 stars. This version added extra stuff like collecting silver stars and more levels. Super Mario 64 also added multiple characters. In the original, Yoshi only gave you lives after getting all 120 stars. In DS, he's a playable character, and so is Luigi. And Wario! best game ever! Every power-up is in this game and then some. Every power-up is given to one specific character. Mario gets the wing cap, Luigi gets the invisible cap, and Wario gets the metal cap. However, Yoshi also gets to shoot fire, and Mario has the balloon and has him float around for a couple of seconds. It's okay, I guess. But, and this is a huge but, the controls were absolutely ruined. See, the DS only has a D-pad, and Super Mario 64 DS was not built to be played on a D-pad, making a game that controlled just fine into an uncomfortable mess. Literally the only thing that is wrong with this version of the game, and it's the most important part. I give it a 7 out of 10. I know the controls suck, but the added levels and characters is still really cool. Oh, who am I kidding? I only did it for Wario, baby! Oh yeah, before I forget, Luigi is kind of a god in this game. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we finished Super Mario 64. Still to this day, one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games. And also, an alright remake in DS. Only because of Wario. I think the 3D debut for Mario was superb. But now, we are going to go with a semi-controversial Mario game. Is it a bad Mario game? No, actually, it's a pretty good Mario game, but for some reason people consider it a bad game. Have you guys played a bad game before? That game is Super Mario Sunshine. Oh wait, I have to say it like Mario. Super Mario Sunshine! A pretty controversial Mario game, believe it or not. Oh boy, I just realized I have to play Super Mario Sunshine. Oh my god, this is gonna be fun! I'll see you guys when I talk about that. For real though, I actually don't hate Super Mario Sunshine. I actually really like that game, but like, it has some issues, it had some problems, so let's see it. But we'll get there when we get there.